We have yet another case of a classic Dinesh D'Souza attempt to mislead you. So he'll say things like, oh, well, the debt has increased. Okay, that's true. Okay, and he goes, yeah, I win. Okay, no, let's look at context. George Bush, who was given a $5 trillion surplus by Bill Clinton, then handed off a $1.5 trillion deficit, which Obama, throughout the years, cut in half. But they don't tell you that. They don't say, hey, my God, sucks at balancing the budget.
Hold on.
Put that in Obama's lap, and then, oh my God, Obama, look at his deficits. Given to you by George W. Bush.
No. I notice a very cunning slide from the concept of the debt, which is an aggregate of our obligations, to the deficit, which is an annual total. Very
the deficit leads to the debt.
Yes, it does. So let me ask you this.
And you guys created that deficit, which led to that debt.
All right, what were the average deficits in the 8 Bush years?
Okay, so this is another classic trick that
What were they?
Okay.
Do you know?
So, yeah, I do. Oh, hold on.
All right, so tell us.
So I just told you the exact number that George Bush handed off to Barack Obama. But what they'll do is I used to do this in college. You'll study specific facts and then put them in there and they go, wow, look at that. So he memorized the 8 years. And then he'll go and turn around to seem smart. Do you know the exact number for those 8 years of the deficit? I just told you exactly where he started and where he ended up.
No.
The fact that you know, but in 2007 it wasn't as large as it is in 2008 is irrelevant. It is done as a debating tactic. Okay. The point is he was given a $5 trillion surplus and he exited with a $1.5 trillion deficit. That is because he sucks at balancing the budget, and then you want to blame Obama for it. That is your attempt to mislead.
All right. Let me give you a couple of concrete facts. We're in a public domain, so they can easily be checked. And then if you can disagree with me, do so. The average, hold on. The average Bush deficits, see, this is what happens when facts come into the picture. Hold on. The national debt was approximately $8.5 trillion when Obama took office in early 2009. Look it up. It was about $8.5 trillion. It is now well over $17 trillion. Obama has doubled the national debt. Now,
I keep explaining to him.
True or false?
So, see, that's exactly what I'm talking about. So he goes, I have a fact, and I'm going to state that fact, but I'm not going to give you any context. And most of my readers are Republicans, so they're kind of stupid, and they'll buy into it. So I'll just give it with no context. And then,
as if the people that listen to the Young Jerks, also known as the Young Turks, those guys are just voracious readers. They have a voracious appetite for the truth. Absolutely. I mean, these guys are spot on everything, right, Cenk? Is that what you're trying to tell us?
And as I've now done 3 times, I give him the context as to why that happened. And he goes, oh, context, nuance, so damaging, so troubling. Republicans, remember, he doubled the debt. Where did it come from? Dinesh, where does a debt come from? True or false, does it come from deficits?
Yes, it does. And Obama has had trillion-dollar deficits one after the other.
Did George Bush, facts, let's talk facts. Did George Bush hand off a $1.5 trillion deficit to President Obama?
True.
Did he bring that down to under half of that deficit at this point?
On this annual basis, yes, but over 8 years.
Yes. There we have it. Facts.
Cenk, we had.
But what about the debt?
No. Obama has added $8.5 trillion to the national debt in 8 years. His average deficit is $1 trillion. Now, you talked about Republican deficits that made you a liberal. In the Reagan years, people talked about $200 billion deficits as far as the eye can see. George W. Bush, never had a deficit exceeding $500 billion.
That's because he was handed a $5 trillion surplus. Context, facts. You attempt to mislead, I clarify. We can do this all night long.
All right. Let me just...
Okay.
By the way, let's have fun. Who's the last Republican president to balance the budget when he left office? Because Republicans are good at that, right? Who's the last president?
Reagan.
Wrong. Eisenhower.
Wrong.
Look it up. Look it up. You think Reagan left office with a balanced budget?
Hold on.
Is that what you're saying?
Hold on.
Okay, now context.
No, I agree. Reagan had modest deficits, but under Reaganism, two things were happening. One was a massive peace dividend from the end of the Cold War. You talk about the Clinton surplus.
So you're giving excuses.
I'm talking about the Clinton surplus being the product of the technological revolution and the end of the Cold War.
So, let's review the facts. Let's review the facts. The only ones who have balanced the budget in our lifetimes are Democrats. The Republicans have a lot of excuses. Oh, golly gee, we had this and the thing. And by the way, you were wrong. See, I can do this too. I know a fact he doesn't know. It was Eisenhower. Okay, that's a cute little debating trick. Okay, who's the last Republican president to balance the budget in any given year rather than the end of their administration? Oh, you don't know it, I win.
Well,
see, it's a debating trick. It's a debating trick.
No,
it's Nixon.
Because hold on, your fact, look, we're talking about facts with significance, right? We're talking about facts that have meaning, So, let me ask you this. In Obama's term, did the national debt double, yes or no?
I can't believe we're back to this. Okay.
The reason we're back to this, Cenk Uygur, you blubbering buffoon, is because what do you say when something goes from 8 billion to 17 billion? What do you call that? Under whose watch? Under whose stewardship is that under? It's under Obama's. The national debt doubled. Plain and simple. It just doubled. Stay on point. You keep talking about, the deficits were there. You got a $1.5 trillion surplus from Bush, and then he handed off a $1.5 billion negative deficit, deficit to Obama. But now Obama took the national debt from $8.5 trillion to over 17 trillion. And then you say, wait a minute, that's a debating trick. I know a fact, you know a fact. What the hell are you talking about?
I think we should put the tricks away.
How many times do I have to explain it? But that's the thing with the Republicans.
All right.
You got to explain it and explain it. You see,
In
debts
short,
come
yes.
from deficits.
Yes.
Deficits were given. Okay, all right.
All right.
I thought I did it 4 times.
So there's an issue that we've talked about that both of you think is important. That's the issue of crony capitalism. What do you think are some reforms that we can enact to make the government less corrupt?
Crony capitalism, I think, is the result of the fact that the federal government has not only enormous power.
Anyways, I think we're just going to stop it at that thing there. Leave that for the next part as we record, talk about crony capitalism or whatever. But the fact of the matter is, in this one here, I guess you could say that all the bloviating that was being done by, and the countering points that they were talking about from, Cenk Uygur side, basically saying that, no, we're just going back. I mean, who was the last president to balance a budget? Oh, no, wrong. It was Eisenhower, and it was Clinton or whatever. It wasn't Reagan. What are you talking about? A simple statement was being made that during the Obama monarchy, during those 8 years, the national debt ballooned from a little under 8 to over 17. So it doubled, almost $1 trillion a year. Bottom line, I don't give a damn about any other number at all. I don't care what you said that, the first 11 months, he could have been running at a freaking surplus. And then in the last month of the year, it all just went to hell. And you lost $1 trillion. So what if that's what I'm talking about. It's simply numbers. And it's just one number that we're talking about. Everybody talks about the national debt. Admit it. It doubled during Obama's time. You know what? And the thing is, because we were just spend. Nobody cares about cost control. It just doesn't happen. Try to spend your way out of everything. That's the way our government basically works. Anyways, folks, we appreciate you taking the time to watch. You've been watching the Dr. Nasir Shaikh Show. I've been your host, Dr. Nasir. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, love you to do so. Hit that notification bell, like, share, and follow us. Put your comments down below. Let us know what you think. My final point, when you're right, you're right. And when you're left, you're wrong. We'll see you again next time, folks. Take care and stay safe.